Hello, Southwest Florida homeowners and homebuyers. Welcome to the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast, your go-to source for navigating the vibrant real estate landscape of our beautiful region. I'm your host, Kevin Tremmel, a local real estate agent, leader, and investor here in Southwest Florida. On this podcast, we bring you insights from best in the business, top-notch real estate professionals, seasoned agents, and experts in everything from homeowners insurance to mortgages, maintenance, and repairs. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned homeowner, we've got you covered with tips, strategies, and valuable insights to make your journey in Southwest Florida's real estate market a breeze. Get ready to unlock the doors to successful home ownership. This is the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast, where we demystify the process, share insider knowledge, and ensure you're well equipped to make informed decisions. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast. Today, we have Chris Haynes on our show. Chris is a real estate agent with Frank Albert Realty in Tampa. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hello, hello.
Awesome, man. Thanks for making the time and chatting with me today. Why don't we get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what drew you into real estate, and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, I've been in real estate about 3 years. I think this is year 3. I worked in the gaming industry for about 20 years at the Hard Rock in Tampa. And honestly, it was a lot of my friends were going into real estate. And during the pandemic, it was one of those things to where we realized how expendable we were in the service industry. So we wanted to kind of take some control back of our life. So we decided to make the jump into real estate. And there's a lot of similarities between real estate and the gaming industry. You're both serving industry, we're serving clients in real estate. You're serving guests that come in from the gaming industry. But yeah, in a nutshell, I have 3 kids and my youngest goes on a lot of showings with me. He'll be actually attending a showing and a final walkthrough here over the next week and a half.
Nice.
So yeah, he'll be hanging out with me.
It's awesome. Start them off early so he can take
Get him in there.
He can take over the empire once the time comes, right?
Absolutely. Jay-Z better watch out, man. I'm serious.
Awesome, man. And then, so tell us a little bit about Frank Albert Realty, obviously a little bit more of a boutique style realty company. What do you like about them? Why did you decide to join them and not Coldwell or Keller, whatever it may be,
So Frank Albert Realty, brokers Frank Albert. I've known him for a very, very long time, over 20 years now. He used to work with me in the casino. So it was more of a trust factor going with him over like a bigger brokerage as far as like Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway. I just like the fit. He doesn't hire inexperienced agents. So it was just kind of one of those things where we've had such a good relationship that it just worked out and it's continued to work out. As far as his brokerage, usually concentrates a lot in Seminole Heights in the Tampa area. He's done a lot of business. He does a lot of philanthropy work in that area. And that Seminole Heights area has come a long way since I was younger. I grew up in Tampa. I mean, you'd be afraid to get shot in the neighborhood when I was 10 years old. But now investors have came in, they've fully renovated that area. And it's one of the hottest markets in Tampa. And it's a very popular area for both families and young entrepreneurs and things like that. And people can work from home. So they like living there over a lot of other places. And it's a great food district too.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So it was just like you knew Frank and that's kind of, you just thought it was a good fit, more personal than one of the big ones. So
I didn't want to be a number. I wanted to have a personal relationship with the broker. It wasn't about splits. It wasn't about anything else. It was just literally about trust. That was it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I guess based on what you were saying that you didn't want to feel expendable during and after the pandemic, I guess it makes sense that you chose to go that route and didn't want to be a number anymore. Tell us a little bit about your start there in real estate. You decided to go into real estate in one of the worst and best times, I would say. Best from a demand standpoint of just like how many people were looking for homes.
Yeah.
Worst, just like how crazy it was. How have your first 3 years in real estate been? What challenges have you faced? What has kind of stood out to you?
So our very first deal was somebody that used to work at the casino and only saw that we were agents through social media. So he knew my wife, used to work with her in the cage department, and that was our very first deal. So that was interesting that our first deal was on social media, even though it's still tied back to the casino. And then after that, we had 3 or 4 more deals that were done through our casino or social media connections, and it's continued that way. Even deals that I have currently going on right now, both deals that I have that are I got one closing at the end of this month, one that should be under contract here about Monday. They're both through social media. So social media has played a big part. And that's also what been my struggle in real estate over these past 2 or 3 years or whatever, is I didn't realize like how much like this business differs than everything else. So like in this business, if you have to market yourself all the time, every time like I have free time, I'm figuring out some kind of marketing. I have 2 days set for marketing, and that's all I do those days, unless I have like some kind of appointments, things like that. Is Monday and Tuesday. Drop the kids off at school, and until I have to pick them up those 8 hours, all I'm doing is figuring out what kind of marketing I want to do for the week, for the day, and I would like to figure out maybe a better plan than that. But right now, that from a time standpoint, those are the easiest 2 days for me to just spend 6, 7, 8 hours just marketing. Then I schedule everything out on all the social media sites. I try to do some videos, some TikTok. That's kind of a struggle for me sometimes, just to have that kind of time. It's more of like have that kind of time where it's quiet around me, where I can focus on just doing that. So I have maybe like 100 scripts. I just haven't actually recorded the videos for those scripts just yet.
Yeah. No, oh man, I feel that so much. I feel like
tough, man.
I feel like people underestimate how much, and I've talked about this on this podcast before, about people that maybe are listening to this that maybe want to get into the industry, or even people that are just listening to this that don't want to get into industry. I feel like people don't realize like how many different jobs you have, like running your own real estate business. And with the whole marketing, I feel like people don't realize like how much time it takes. Yeah, like a 30-second reel, but then like doing it, cutting it, posting it to all the sites, writing descriptions.
Yep.
Facebook likes a little different stuff than like Instagram, and then TikTok's a whole nother different thing. So it's just, and so I completely understand when you say you just dedicate 2 days just for marketing. I mean, I think that's great. I kind of try to do it like in between, right? If I have 30 minutes here, 40 minutes here, but
yeah,
it's definitely probably good to dedicate some time and set some time aside. So how did you, so first deal came from someone you knew from your old job through social media. How did you build like your business? Because as we all know, most agents fail within the first 1 to 2 years. So based on what I'm seeing on your socials, you seem to be out of that. You've been doing this for 3 years, see a ton of listings, ton of just sold. So I think it's safe to say you're out of the woods.
For now.
Yeah. So now it's probably about growing, but at least you've made it. So I guess how did you achieve that? Like, I mean, anything that you did to kind of jumpstart the business, or anything you didn't do, or
So it was more something that I did and didn't do. We were doing a decent amount of transaction volume, I would say, for like an agent that's never really done anything in the business. I think the first year and a half, maybe we did 10 to 15 sales, give or take. And then it was really like that back half of that year and a half when the pandemic kind of happened. And just at home in my free time, my getaway was playing Call of Duty, things like that. And I met somebody and we grew a friendship through Call of Duty. And we've been friends ever since. He just happens to be somebody that works for Clayton Homes, and they're doing a lot of spec home projects for him. And so I got to help him with purchasing a lot of land for those spec homes. And then I also was honored to be able to have all the homes that they built on those as well as my listings. So right now we currently have 10 listings. One is under contract. We have 2 land listings for 12 total. And we've got a lot of business from that, whether it be a referral to a buy side transaction off of that, or somebody wanted to purchase those properties and sometimes they want to go directly through us. But yeah, oddly enough, a video game really kind of jump started the business. If I didn't have that, I would have probably had to market a lot harder. And that's also kind of stunted my growth a little bit as well, because that came not so easy, but that came without me having to do like marketing for it. And so I think now this past year and a half, I've realized that, man, I really got to start like marketing even harder, because every day I feel like in this industry, you're just looking over your shoulder. If you're not marketing, then your business is eventually going to fail. And I think especially with how the market has gone from the pandemic to a super hypercharged market where it was horrible for everybody involved, because people are paying so much over list price for homes, and some agents love that market. I hated it. But then now you have this NAR lawsuit that went through that just puts a ton of confusion into people's eyes. And then you also have higher interest rates than people are used to the last 4 or 5 years, even though they still are pretty low.
Right. But I think, I mean, you said Call of Duty. Well, first of all, for all the kids watching out there, you should show this to your mom and your dad, right?
Video games
but no, I mean, I think there's something to take away from that. I think it falls under the umbrella of like sphere of influence, right?
Yeah,
whether your hobby is Call of Duty, like other people's hobby is golfing, right? I mean, whatever your hobby, start there, right? That's your sphere. That's what you should exploit, quote unquote.
And we've used that from the casino and from that.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
A big
Yeah,
part.
yeah, exactly. So I guess when answer to your question with what jump started it would be like sphere of influence, which, obviously the coaches and trainers, that's what
it's one of the big things they tell
you.
That's what
exactly. Exactly. So it works, right? So
I feel like it doesn't, but then if you actually look back, you're like, oh yeah, I guess they're right. Maybe I should listen.
Right. Yeah, I guess they are.
Maybe they know something that I don't know.
Yeah, right. And then those new construction listings, that is more south of Tampa, right? That's like the Port Charlotte area you were saying.
Yeah, Port Charlotte and Northport. So literally, like Hillsborough Boulevard is the divider line between Northport and Port Charlotte. They're all right below that divider line.
Yeah,
it's in like a weird little section to where there's no HOA, there's no CDD. They're all separated into quarter-acre lots. Yeah. So it's a very unique area, but you're 2.5 minutes away from a Target.
Oh, cool.
It's a weird area where it reminds me of like where I grew up in Brandon, to where you have everything available to you on State Road 60. Right. But you still have a bunch of houses around there. In that area, there's 50,000 lots that are vacant. Yep. And there's a lot of development, a lot of new construction in that area. So over the next 5 years, if you get in there early, it'll pay off. It's just going to take some time because the infrastructure is just not there yet. Like I just saw they're putting a big drainage in that area, and they're also, it looks like fiber optics is making its way down there. Yeah. But as soon as the infrastructure gets there, that's when you know that market's going to start blowing up.
Yep. Yeah, similar to like North Cape Coral, where they're putting water now, or even like Lehigh, like down where I am in Fort Myers, they extended like State Route 82. When I started, it was like 2 lanes. Now it's 6 lanes.
Oh, wow.
They have like roads. So yeah, I hear you. That's the place to get in, and that's the place to get in now. Yeah, just from where you live in Tampa, Port Charlotte is for those who don't know it's like a 2.5-hour drive, like somewhere around there, or right, like somewhere.
I can take, so if I go just down 75, it's about a 2-hour drive, maybe 2 hours 10 minutes, just because I have to go from where I'm at Lakeland at 75. But usually I just take the back roads, so it's a nice, easy. I don't have to white knuckle it down 75 all the time. I just go down 17, which down there turns into Kings Highway. It's a nice casual drive, a lot of countryside, but more like my style where I prefer to live on the countryside. But yeah, it's a nice, easy drive down there. Not a lot of traffic. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of cow pastures.
A lot of cow pastures. A lot of lots that I would like. That would be great for development out here. I get a chance to tell my builders all the time.
That's awesome.
I think I found a $28 million one. I'm like, you sure you don't want this one? He didn't sign off on that though. Weird.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you do business in like the Tampa area, but also venture down to like the Northport, Port Charlotte, Sarasota area. I guess my question would be like, what are some of like the main differences you've observed like between the two markets? Tampa obviously being a lot bigger city, younger universities, Busch Gardens, attractions, whatever it may be. Port Charlotte, Northport, Sarasota, more a little bit quaint, sleepy, maybe a little bit more retiree. I guess right now, real estate related markets, what have you observed between Tampa and like the Sarasota, Port Charlotte area?
Well, definitely like Tampa right now. Tampa is like the hip market. It's what you hear about in the national news, national media, the Florida news. You always hear about Tampa, their food scene, the entrepreneurs that come here. It's getting a lot more tech forward in Tampa as well. As soon as their public transportation catches up with what the city is doing, I think it'll be a perfect mesh. But as of right now, they haven't quite caught up there yet. But Tampa is more of what I would consider like the young, hip, like hot market. As far as like Port Charlotte and a lot of like the Southwest Florida markets that I've kind of done business in, I did some sales in Cape Coral, and then more Northport, and then I've done some in Sarasota. It is definitely more laid back. Now, when I did like the Sarasota Bradenton area, which was Lakewood Ranch, I did a deal in there. A lot of new construction in there. That is a very, I don't want to say like high end area. It's just a big development. It's one of the largest in the United States as far as like the total development area, like the Villages is in more North Florida. And it's just an area that people are drawn to. People want to live there. It's 20, 30 minutes away from the beach. And they have that protected home, which a lot of people like. It's behind gated communities. They have reclaimed water that they're not using. So they use recycled water for their grass. People cut their lawns for them out there. A lot of HOAs, things like that. Then you travel a little further down south in Port Charlotte. It's a lot more laid back. I noticed the same thing in Cape Coral as well. Not as much traffic. Definitely same distance, 20, 30 minutes away from the beach. More of an outdoor kind of lifestyle, and it's a slower pace. Where in Tampa, I feel like you're going 100 miles an hour. You might only be going 60 down in like that Port Charlotte area. It's
right.
it's a pleasant change. And a lot of people that I've met like down there, whether it be vendors, because like we hire out landscaping companies to take care of all these listings that we have down there, and they all say the same thing. It's a slower pace.
Right.
If you want to speed it up, then go down to Fort Myers or then go down to Naples a little bit. It's a faster pace down there, even though it's still a little more of an older scale as far as total demographic. It's not Tampa. Tampa's just I love Tampa. I will probably never move out of Tampa. I will be in the surrounding areas of Tampa because I want some more land for myself. But as far as Tampa in general, it's a very busy, high tech market right now.
Yeah.
Port Charlotte specifically, and I've noticed in Northport, same thing with Cape Coral, Punta Gorda. It's getting developed. So I think eventually it could get there, but it's going to take some time. So
Yeah.
now's a good time to get in to where you might not have to, wait 30 minutes in line when you're driving to get your kids to school. You might be able to get there in 10 minutes right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say the Gulf Coast of Florida has something to offer for everyone.
Yeah,
That's what I like
absolutely.
about it. From Tampa down to Naples, they're all different. So whatever floats your boat, I guess
And
is
there's golf courses everywhere. So,
that's one thing that's constant between
yeah.
everything.
And
But
great fishing all along the coast.
yeah. So with you being in all these different markets along the Gulf Coast, what are kind of like some challenges you've seen for buyers or for sellers lately over the last 12 months or so?
So for buyers specifically, I've noticed it's kind of a double-edged sword. So and like the Tampa market, it's more of a shortage as far as home supply,
Okay.
especially in like the pockets of the market that are very hot, like the Seminole Heights, River Heights, south of Gandy, things like that. Those are very hot markets, so it's a shorter supply of home. So
Oh,
then when
okay.
buyers are going to look, the prices are going to remain elevated and they could continue to go up.
Mhm.
But then you go down south and it's an overabundance of supply down there. So
Mhm.
you're talking about buyers have so many choices that it kind of freezes people. I think
Mhm.
when you have so many choices and you see because of that, that it's putting downward, pressure on prices, that
Right.
people have so many choices, they just wait and pause. They
Yeah.
want to see what's going to happen. And that's actually held a lot of people back from my conversations of actually moving forward with buying a home.
Oh,
I hope that kind of stabilizes, especially in that area, because when there's a big supply like that, there's deals to be had, especially for buyers.
right.
So if you're on the fence about buying things like that, as soon as you see like that point to where look at all the supply down there, talk
Yeah.
to somebody, ask some questions about it, because in all reality, majority of these homes I've been seeing go under contract, they're getting into contract with all closing costs being paid, getting a contract in $30,000-$40,000 under list price of where it started at sometimes. So
Yeah.
they're getting much better deals, much more bang for your buck in the Southwest Florida market than you're getting anywhere in Tampa.
Right. That's interesting. So you're saying, so I'm in Fort Myers. I'm obviously not too familiar with the Tampa market. So I am familiar with what you just said with kind of supply going up, but you're saying Tampa is still, I'm sure it's slowed down a little, but it's still
Yeah.
very much so low supply, high demand, especially in those like downtown Tampa areas where there's a lot of like gentrification, that kind of stuff happening. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Tampa is
Yeah.
like the hub. So
Mhm.
like the further away if you get from the hub, it would be like the hot or cold kind of thing. It's colder the further you get away.
Yeah.
But Seminole
Yeah.
Heights is 10 minutes from downtown,
Right.
and South Tampa is very popular. So you have to get further outside those markets. But then even where I grew up in Brandon, I'm
Yeah.
seeing homes that like so the home that we first purchased in 2000, bought it for 270 ish, I want to say. It's on the market again now for 600.
Oh, yeah.
So like the market, and that's 30 minutes away from downtown Tampa. It's a
Right.
very subdivision, white picket fence kind of area, but that's crazy over the course of that time frame.
Yeah,
So
it is.
there's pockets on the market that are just still. It's crazy to me to see it, knowing where I grew up
Of
and seeing these
course.
homes go $400,000 more than what they were
Yeah.
bought for. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy. And then like Southwest Florida, so you're also so some of your buyers have said, look, like almost like what you said, like analysis paralysis, right? There's so many choices. And so do you tell them when they say, hey, we're just gonna pause and see what happens? Do you tell them, okay, that's fine? Or do you kind of tell them, hey, there's some deals to be had? Because I mean, I've seen that too. We went under contract last night on a house with one of my buyers' clients and $40,000 under ask, and they already had some price cuts and commissions paid, and realtors giving a credit from their commission to my buyer. I mean, just
Whew,
yeah,
I
good
didn't even
deals.
know.
So are you telling me like your buyers stay put, or are you telling them, hey, there's some deals to be had, and let's just narrow it down to three and put an offer in one, or how do you handle that right now?
For the most part, like when people have too many options, I always tell them you gotta simplify things. Figure out like what's important to you, whether it be location, price point, or do you want certain features, things like that. So once you kind of get them to start thinking about like specifically then you have to get them to fall in love with the area or home, whatever those factors are. They can basically answer that question for themselves. So for the most part, I've been able to slow people down. Instead of them going on that coaster that's going 100 miles an hour down the tracks, just slow down a little bit. Let's talk about what's important to you, and then we can explore some options. And then once you get those options kind of out there, and hopefully only 2 or 3 of them, much easier to make a decision based off of 2, 3, 4, 5 properties than it is 200 properties, which is what I'm seeing in a lot of areas of new construction. They want this new construction home, but man, they go look on the market and there's all these homes everywhere. And then in addition to that, you have all these homes that are pre-construction. So when they're going on Zillow or they're going on Redfin, all that kind of stuff, homes.com, they're seeing 300 homes in the area, but 150 of them are pre-construction.
Yeah.
So hey, let's take that 150 already out. Now let's concentrate on 2 or 3 things that you like. And now that 150 now is down to 20. And you can keep narrowing that down from there to kind of get them to take that first step. And that first step might just be going to look at a home. Just go walk into one, you know?
Yeah, because I found that, I mean, those are great points. I always say wants versus needs, right? That's what it boils down to first. What's more like long term, is a aluminum roof more important or another 2 feet on your closet, right? Yep. And most people, unless you're Elon Musk, you're never going to have everything in your home, right? So I think it's a good what you said, just what's most important, make a priority list. And the closet might be the most important thing to you. That's fine. But
there's
then
one make or break deal I have.
Yeah, then we might have to adjust other things in the house for sure. Yeah, those are good points. And then, so as far as like buyers, also, are you seeing an influx now that rates have come down a little bit already over the last couple of weeks? Yeah.
So even like on the activity just on our homes in that Port Charlotte area, I would say over the last 3 weeks, with rates going down, we did some price cuts as well. So it's been kind of like a perfect storm as far as that's concerned. It's been maybe 4 to 5 times what it was prior to that. Yeah. I think a lot of people, the biggest thing that like I have conversations with other realtors about is people have a fear of the political landscape. Regardless of your political affiliation, people have a fear of that. And that has paused a lot of people from moving forward until that's kind of figured itself out. But the great equalizer is affordability. And so if the price of the homes aren't really going to change, then the only thing to make the homes more affordable is a rate. Right. So if people can get those rates down and as soon as they get below 6% and they're consistent I know they are for FHA and things like that right now, they're sub 6, but if you can get that conventional in the mid 5s, the housing market is going to break open. I don't care where it is. So, and we're getting close to that. We're not that far away from that being a reality.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting real close. And that's what I'm seeing too. I follow Lawrence. Oh, I'm going to butcher his last name. Yoon he's like the chief economist from NAR. And I follow him. And he always says 5.5% rates, 5.5. And that's just going to unlock everything. Because then the sellers that are now at 3 and 4, they're not too far away from buying a new house with 5, right?
Yeah, those golden handcuffs get a little looser.
Right. You know? They're gonna, exactly. They're gonna sell again, more inventory, but also more demand because lower rates, and it's just unfreeze everything. So, and I'm with you on that. Like, hopefully, we'll see that in 2025 because I think I'm in the boat with you. Like, I want a normal market. Like, I don't want 20.
Balanced market is great for everybody.
Yeah,
everybody.
I don't want bidding. Like, it's just not sustainable, And so I'm with you there. Well, good, Chris. And switching gears a little bit here. So you've been doing this for about 3 years. What are kind of like your long-term goals for your career? Like where is the journey going? I know you said your son's going on a lot of appointments with you, so it sounds like you're already thinking ahead.
He comes to showings,
Yeah. I guess take me fast forward 5 years. Like where's your real estate business at? What are your goals?
I mean, at least over the next 5 years, I would like to be able to kind of bring this business back up to the Lakeland, Tampa market. Not that I'm shying away from it. That's where I live. But hopefully I can help this builder come this way a little bit further. I would say that my biggest goal is to help, whether it's this builder or another builder, develop an entire subdivision. That's been my goal since I've kind of started this project with them. I would really like to be involved in a project like that just because at scale, it would be awesome to be involved in a project that big.
Right.
And then whether it be with other agents helping them, that'd be awesome too. I just would really like to be involved in that. And maybe we start small. We've been looking at parcels of land anywhere from 5 acres all the way up to 100 acres right now. And we found a couple lots that were interesting, but Southwest Florida has a lot of water on their lots. So we've been trying to narrow things down as to the path of least resistance to get maybe like a small subdivision.
Yeah.
So maybe like a test site of something like small little subdivision of 10 homes, something like that. So that would probably be the first step to take. But I'd really like to jump into this Lakeland market. It reminds me a lot of like the historic markets over in Tampa, whether it be Seminole Heights, Riverside Heights, things like that. They have a lot of little cute bungalows around here over by Lake Hollingsworth. I mean, this area here has a lot of areas that are untapped as far as like the real estate market. And I feel like once people start to realize like what's over here, it'll speed it up a lot more. And the downtown area in Lakeland is very quaint, same like downtown Tampa, just not as big. So if you kind of like a slower version of Tampa, Lakeland's been awesome. So I hope to bring some business up to this area.
Cool. Awesome, man. And just real quick on Lakeland, correct me if I'm wrong, but the location's incredible, right? Because you're right off of I-4, like kind of in between Orlando and Tampa. So it works for people that work in Tampa, and it works for people that work in Orlando because you're in the middle. So, right, that's what draws a lot of people, or is it close to Tampa? Right?
No, absolutely. Okay. So if I have to go to where my broker's office is, about 35 minutes. That's right off of Florida Avenue over in downtown Tampa area. And me and my wife were avid Disney goers. Our kids love Disney, so we have Disney passes. Okay, cool. Takes us 35 minutes. As long as you get past the crazy traffic over in Haines City, it's about 35 minutes. So yeah, you're right in the middle of it. And as far as like access to interstate stuff like that, I-4 is right there, and there's a couple of other roads you can take to avoid the I-4 madness, but it's real easy access to all of Central Florida.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, maybe we can help you. Maybe I or we can help you transfer some of that business to the Lakeland area. If someone wants to get in touch with you, obviously all your social media will be linked down below in the description. But if someone wants to get in touch with you directly, how can they do that?
As far as you want to get in touch with me, call or text. I'm one of those agents that I always answer the phone. My wife hates it, so I answer about 20 to 30 spam calls a day to get maybe one person that actually calls me. Right. So I have all the people that are asking about AARP, calling me, Medicaid, calling me all the time. Yeah. But if you want to get in direct touch with me, give me a call at 813-313-7222. Shoot me a text if you like, or you can email me. It's at my first and last name, Chris Haynes, at frankalbertrealty.com.
Perfect. Awesome, Chris. Well, thank you so much for your time. Take some time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us an insight into the first 3 years in the business, some of the challenges, but also opportunities, and some of the differences between the Tampa market and more of the Southwest Florida market. I appreciated your knowledge. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And, we'll talk soon.
Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. You too, Chris. Bye.
And that wraps up another insightful episode of the 239 Real Estate Roundtable podcast. I hope you enjoyed our discussions and gained valuable knowledge to enhance your home ownership journey here in Southwest Florida. A big thank you to our incredible guests and of course to you, our listeners, for joining us. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, or if you'd like to connect, feel free to reach out. You can find us on Instagram at Kevin Tremmel _real estate, on Facebook at Kevin Tremmel Real Estate, or visit our website, kevintremmel.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Your feedback is crucial and we're always eager to hear from you. Until next time, this is Kevin Tremmel, your host, signing off. See you on the next episode.